Okay, before we go, let's hear it run. I shouldn't shortchange you on that. We gotta go the other side though, because this is a later model where the key's on the side of the dash and I can't reach around. So hopefully we don't have any leaks. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm the Oliver Man, and here we are in the second half of our video on servicing some tractors that are going to go to the fair. I got this one all done, and I think since it's not raining that a test drive is in order. So we'll take this for a rip down the road and make sure we don't have any leaks develop in anything that we messed with. It looks good now, but sometimes when you heat them up a little bit, you find things. So we're gonna give that a shot and then we'll move on to the next one. All right. success. I don't see any leaks. So this one should be ready to go. Well, we'll get this one out of the corner now so we can work on it. I don't think he's run it for a while, but it's always been a faithful starter, so we'll see. These Caterpillars, like I said, even in the coldest of weather, if they'll turn over, they'll run. So we'll give it a try. This is all original, other than the cab kit, which I put in it. But basically, this is a 2,700 hour tractor, so very nice. We'll see if it fires up. Oh yeah. Very original 2255, and the guy that owns it, he bought it because he was looking for something like an 18 or 19 because he wanted one with a turbo, but then he found this and it was too good a deal for such a nice tractor, so he ended up buying it. So this is the first one that he bought, and we've just done little things to it to make it right again. Polished on the paint a little bit. It got all new tires. Cab kit, like I said, we put, I actually redid part of the air conditioner. It still needs some attention because it's leaking out a little bit, but it got a new compressor, and I don't know if I can show you or not. I'd have to get a ladder, but I made a new plate and used some of the like automotive style radiator plastic fans, you know, you can get. They run so much quieter and move more air, so that's what I did in there. The originals were, you could tell, and maybe you can't tell anymore because I straightened it part way, but that was smashed in part of the way, and so that plate was messed up, and it was hard to get the fans to run without making noise or one catching. So I got that all straightened and then just made that new plate with those newer fans, and that works pretty good. But we still have to figure out, I think there's some lines that didn't get replaced. I can't remember anymore. He kind of wanted to go just a little bit at a time and see if we could find what the problem was. So we'll have to check into that at some point. But basically, we're just going to service it totally. I think I've changed the engine oil in it before and done some service work to it, but we didn't do as much as we're going to do this time. Okay, so while we were talking, I noticed that we now have a pinhole in this hose, so we're going to have to replace it. It's left a nice trail for us when I turned it around. So I've done this one before at some other time, but we need to do that one now. I suppose I should let the arms down because it's probably going to make a mess, but we're changing this oil anyway, so I don't suppose it's going to be too big a deal. It's low on hydraulic oil, so we'll get that pulled off of here. Let's just steer into the skid here and make a mess. How much is going to leak out? All of it. And of course, I did not have a 7/8 wrench with me for some reason. So we're using the handy adjustable. Sure. Drift on down there, buddies. I should have just went ahead and done it earlier, but let the arms down, but we'll just go ahead and catch it in our bucket like we were going to do anyway when we drain it. Although it's making a lot more of a mess now for some reason. Just because, you know, because I wanted it to. Sure. That's dandy. Just wonderful. So that's draining. Maybe I should wait a second and let it empty out before I make much of more of a mess up higher here. The question's going to be, will this come out nicely and easily? Sure, hose. Get the camera. That's cool. I like that. Oh, it's always something to... The problem here is that I've got to get my stuff ready for the fair too. And if I'm messing around with everybody else's stuff, I'm afraid I'm gonna procrastinate enough that I don't get it done. Come on. Come on! Oh, this hose is pretty stiff old rubber. Come on. There we go. Well, we'll go entitle ourselves to a new hose here, and then we'll put it back together. Okay. Fresh back from town, and another service call that sidetracked me. I have a new hose here. So we're gonna try to get this fed in here. I hope some way. This will be a little bit of a, there we go. Then we will have replaced both hoses on this tractor. I should have probably just done that other one, this one that we're doing now. I should have done it when I did the other one, but we weren't really into just replacing things for no reason, so because our plan kind of when he got the tractor was to try it out first and see what kinds of things it might need before we really started wrenching on it, you know. I think he batwing bush hogged with it once and took it on a few tractor drives and things, and then we got to see what kinds of issues that it might have. I think we'll probably stop with that. See how we can put this in here. Oh, how are we gonna do it? I don't like that on there, and I'm wondering, did we accidentally make it longer than the other one was? Or I guess I'll just thread it in here and then see where it finds its happy place. As long as it's not rubbing anything, it'll work, but it might not be as eye appealing. I guess we'll just go with it for now because we're running short of time before we need to take this. And if he doesn't like it, I can always make a new line. I don't think it'll matter, but we'll see. Okay, I think we luckily have that fixed now. So the next thing we can do is start our oil changing process, and we'll probably do just like the 1955 and go do the hydraulics first, and then we'll go on to the transmission rear end and work our way forward. That's just the way that kind of makes sense in my mind, so we'll go with that. This tractor has been greased, unlike the other one, so it's not, it shouldn't take as long as what I'm saying, because I know what's been done to this one before, whereas the other one, I kind of had to check out things to see where we stood on them. So we'll get working on the hydraulics now and get the oil changed. Oh, and this one's fun to get to because of the steps. These, I will point out, are the steps like what I have on the 1855 that I said I got from Maybach. But these are what they're patterned after, the original factory steps for a 2255 with a cab. So, nice double steps. However, they make working on stuff down in here a slight bit more difficult, but it's fine. We can get in there. We just have to crawl. Okay, how am I going to get my fat self in here? And another thing I just realized, I accidentally left one of my buckets at my last service call, so now I'm a bucket short. Okay. This sucker's leaking a lot worse than I remember it. I'd be having more issues to work through. But we'll go one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Okay. I'm probably blocking the camera, but can't help it. I have a lot of room here. Why are you so tight? Okay, now I should have probably grabbed the funnel. However, learning our lesson from the engine oil, I'm kind of over that funnel. I think I'll just hold this up there and then follow it down to the ground as such. I'll just hold it here till it's empty. Well, that's draining nicely, so we'll let that go. Quick observations under here though, it's kind of oily, so we're gonna have to investigate where stuff is coming from. I'm hoping that this is not starting to leak from the rear end into here and blowing out of that breather and running down on everything, because it's kind of greased up in places here. I don't know. And then the other thing on this end, I'm thinking that it's probably about to need a pinion seal here or something, because it's looks pretty moist down in here. But and that feels like gear oil. I thought maybe it was engine oil from up higher, but this thing is a lot more greasy than I remember it. So, but I know he did take it out and bush hog with it, so that's been a while ago though. But that could have been when this all happened and leaked out more, and it just hasn't been used since then. But we're still going to go ahead and grease and change everything we can, and then we'll deal with major repairs this winter when there's nothing else to do, and I have time. So that's where we are. Okay, oil's drained. Let's get this filter off of here. There we go. Still a little oil dripping settled down in the bottom of the cup, but that's understandable. Okay, so we got our spring, our washer, one rubber seal, filter, second rubber seal goes on here, and then we will put it back on the tractor, and hopefully we will not have any leaks. We will also grease up that top seal up in there to make it a little bit easier. So we'll get doing that, and then we'll start filling her with oil again. Okay, we are started back. And we are good to go, I think. I hope. It'd be even better if I don't have to crawl under there again. We'll quit with that. Less is more. Really don't want to have it leaking. And I noticed that these have jumped out of their holder here. Why have you done that? Air conditioning hoses. Because you're hanging in my way. There, that's more better. I think we're good on hydraulic filter. Now more fun times here. Filling with oil. Well, this is just more of the same, so I don't know that we need to film me putting oil in a tractor. Although you never know, I might spill it in a neat way, but I think we're just gonna skip the video ahead to something else here. So I'll get working on this, and in a second you can join back with the next part. Okay, now you will remember, of course, that we have to swing the drawbar out of the way to drain the oil. And someone on this one has bolted a piece of plate steel under there to hold the drawbar in one place. And I know why they did this, because I have the same trouble on the 4180. There's enough slop in this that if you have a heavy implement like the 272 disc, when you go down the road, it just goes all over the place because of the weight. So if you bolt it solid, then you don't have that problem nearly as bad. So I'm going to have to get the correct size tools, which I thought I had, and I do not, as it is 15/16. I don't think I can get it with just an adjustable wrench, but maybe I can, and maybe I can't. Let's try this one. Is it going to do it without tools? The bolts look fairly new, so, or at least not rusty, but it's going to take more than one. Let's get the tools put on. Okay. Okay, come on. Let's get out of there, buddy. Now, will it slide out of there? Or is it still tight enough that I have to take both sides loose? That's probably what's going to happen. Just because, you know. There we go. Now it's dropped down enough, I think. Oh, yeah. See, it probably would be good to start it up first and raise the 3-point arms now so that this spring isn't in my way. But, you know, difficulty. That's what we're after here. So, we'll try it, and if it doesn't work, we'll do something else. Well, that gives us a good chance to check our hose, make sure it's not leaking now, and it's not. So now we can slide our drawbar out of the way easily. We'll get cans, we'll drain that out. I did not ever change the rear end oil on this tractor. I got to thinking about it, and what he wanted to do when we first got it was just top everything off so he could play with it and see what kind of issues it had. So we did add a little bit of rear end oil to it, but that was all we did. I don't think we even changed the hydraulic fluid. I don't believe. I think we topped off and just went again. And I bet he hasn't put 5 hours on it since he's had it. So not a lot of time with the old stuff in it, but we definitely need to go through it all and make sure it's correct. So that's what we're doing now. Now, if we were smart, we would have learned from the last tractor to have enough cans ready. And I think I do. I have a bucket. Although I left one bucket at that last place I just ran to for a quick service call, so I'm 1 bucket down. But I got plenty 2.5 gallon jugs. So I should be able to make this happen. I gotta get I had my funnel stuck in up there and it's dripping right down in my face, so that's nice. Oh. Okay. Come on, plug. We are loose. We want to gently take it out. What are our thoughts on this one? Ooh, it looks like to me there's some water. We got a few drips out of the 1955. What's this look like? We don't want to... Ooh, there's quite a bit of water, I think, in this one. I think maybe this is a good idea that we are doing this. Ooh. Well, it's a little milky. You can hear that breather up there sucking air in as this is coming out. Pretty good. I think this is definitely worth changing. I think this was a good move here. I gotta be ready because it's gonna hold more than 5 gallons. It would probably be easier just to shut off the oil whenever that happens. Okay, well, I thought it would be, but I don't know. That was relatively painless. A little sloppy, but hope it slows down before this can runs out. Just barely. It's almost to the top. And you can see it got more milky again as it's dragging that sludge off the bottom. Ooh, yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. So, definitely worth our time on this one. Well, we're gonna let that drain out for a while because it's just not worth it to rush it. I want as much of that trash out of there as possible. So we'll go get another empty can and start on the front compartment. I guess a quick side note about some of these others in the background. These 3 tractors are ones that they always had. This guy's dad bought them new. The Massey, he had painted up. I don't think there was really a lot of mechanical things done to it other than just paint. I'm not sure of that. I've done a few things over the years maintenance-wise. The 1850 was bought brand new from our dealer, and he planted corn with it. The son did anyway. And then when I was a kid, this was their loader tractor. And then when he got into tractor collecting, he sold the loader and now just uses it for, you know, different things. This one was the one his dad used to plant corn with. And he, when I remember it didn't run. It sat outside behind this building for a while. It sat inside the building in rough shape. And several years ago, he decided he wanted it fixed. And so he had me start in on it one winter. And I've had every piece of this tractor apart. This is as close to a new tractor as you can get mechanically. We weren't really worried about cosmetics because he was going to have some professional paint it. He just hasn't got to that yet. But I painted stuff that I had totally disassembled or whatever, or did work on or had down to metal so that it didn't rust again. But it started out, I can try to put a picture in. It was a narrow front with a mechanical lift. He decided he wanted wide front and he wanted hydraulics. So we added all that. I found a front end, ended up going through it because it wasn't in the greatest shape. Hydraulic unit, rebuilt the pump. Everything's new in there, new input shaft in the transmission. Every seal in the tractor's been replaced. All new brakes, total overhaul on the motor. Everything that could be replaced has been replaced. You know, I've had both back rims I think needed patched. I can't remember. I mounted these tires. He picked out what he wanted, and I mounted them on, you know, seat rebuilt. Like I said, pretty well every piece of this has been apart, and I had it down to like it was when it was on the assembly line. And you can tell, I was amazed the first time I drove it, how it's like a new tractor. I mean, tight. So, you know, it's not cheap, but if you spend the money and do it right, it's a noticeable difference between just an average, you know, painted up restoration versus going through absolutely everything and doing it right. This really needs paint. I'm not a body work or painter, but I mean, I gave it some color in places that I had down to bare metal. This nose cone was all messed up, and I don't know what I all did on it, welded on it, different things. Same way with these, they were bent up. I got the dies and straightened them, and I don't know. That's the kind of thing where maybe you can just replace them with new ones if you want, but these are the ones that were on there. I think those might be 2 new rims. I don't remember if this had rims on it or if we bought those, but new tires, obviously. Anyway, like I said, another thing, sheet metal, you know, you can get reproduction sheet metal. This is what was on it, and so we wanted to save it for now. This side panel is made out of about maybe 2 or 3 original side panels. Like I said, I'm not a body expert. I got new metal in it, but the next guy can take it over the edge unless they decide to just replace it. But, you know, it's an earlier 77. It's got the frame stripe, band brakes, and the only thing we really did different is converted it to 12 volt. I should have showed that. We got a 12 volt generator off of a later tractor and put that on there. So it's essentially a brand new tractor. It just needs the paint job to match, but everything was apart and done by me, and it runs pretty good. Okay, front compartment. Let's drain you out. Let's get that. Well, excellent camera work, as usual. Okay. Wonder how bad this is going to be. Come on. Oh, that's not too bad. The transmission is not the lowest point, so in theory, your worst oil would come out of the back half. But anyway, it doesn't look too awfully bad. So we'll let that one run. We'll pull the lube pump screen out again, just like we did on the last one. This one especially, based on what we've seen, I think it's probably going to be cruddy. So I'll get my wrench and do that. Okay. We're getting about to the point that we're going to quit for today, because I'm getting to the point where I can't hardly walk. So that means it's time to stop. How bad is this gonna be? Oh, that one actually looks better than the other one. You can definitely see a lot more screen than you could on the other one. So that's good. We'll give that a quick clean off, and then we'll be on our way. Remember, if you like Oliver and White videos, hit the thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss whatever comes next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.